Hello sir, the third experiment is all about creating an employee ID using SQLite. So here in this experiment, I have first used two edit text named ID and pass, two buttons named that ADM and employee as two string variables and one database handler object. So first of all, in the onCreate method, what I have done is like I have used this variable, that is the database handler variable, and defined it using new database handler, and by the running an environment known as get application context, the name of the table and the two variables none and one following it. Second, I have used all the ID, pass, ADM, employee and have instantiated to its respective types. That is, for ID I have instantiated using edit text and identified it by find view by ID, giving its respective IDs, that is edit text and edit text 2. Similarly, for the button also I have typecasted using button and then identified it through find view by ID with their respective button 1 and button 2 IDs. So first of all, as there are two buttons, so for the first button, that is ADM, we have registered it and handled it with the set on click listener method. So here what we do is like we first take ID1 and pass, that is the ID and the password in the initial page, and then we convert it to true string and we check in the next that if the ID1 and the pass is empty or not. If it is not empty, we just check if the ID and the respective password is admin or not. If both the ID and password, the word admin matches, then we give a short message name as login is successful, and then we move on to the next page, that is the main admin page, where we fill in all the details. Else, if the ID and password does not matches, that is if the ID and password is something other than the admin, then it shows that the login is failed. Else, other than that, if any of the fields, that is ID or the password, is not written properly or is missing, it's given as fields are mandatory. And so we go on now to the database handler, that is the next page. First we have login using the ID and password, that is by writing admin if it's login. The next page which comes in is this page where we have used the SQLite. So here there is a class known as database handler which extends an SQLite open helper class. So we have first call out a method named as public database handler, which consists of these attributes. First is the context, second is the name, and third is the SQLite, and the fourth is its version. Here further we have created the table, and SQL is used to create a table. Here the attributes are given its key and its particular variables which we have stored. Then further for a create button, over there we perform these particular operations. For the create, we call out the create employee, which consists of the attributes such as name, ID, department, designation and pass. These are all entries we need to fill it. So first we have to turn on the get writable database mode on so that we can write it, and then we instantiate, and then we create new values for it. First is for storing the particular values of the attributes such as name, designation and all those things. So we use a method not put, where we write all those names, IDs, departments, designation and all those things, and finally we insert it and we close that particular method named as create employee. Then for the second method, that is display employee, we again open it in a get readable database, not in a writable, get readable, so that we may be able to read. And then we get a method name as rock query, for which we select that particular name of the employee, and then the details are passed to the move to next, that is shows the next variable one by one, moves the cursor to the next point. So the next point starts from name, ID, department, designation and message and the password. So one by one it shows all together, added and returned to the string. So as a whole, the string shows all the details respectively, and then remove employee. In this we can delete a particular information of an employee. For this we again put it in a reactable mode, and then we delete it by following. First we give the table name, then what the particular ID and name is, and then finally we delete it and close it. And then the update employee, there's further button known as update, which uses these particular attributes such as name, ID, department, designation and pass, and then we get it in a writable mode. And then we take all the values such as name, ID, department, designation and pass, and we further update what we need to update. If any particular column needs to be updated, so we give that information in this new string ID, and then closes and returns that particular updated value as n, as it's stored in n. So we return that particular value. That's all the part for the employee. And first we log into the admin. Then secondly, when we log into the employee button, what happens, like all the details are filled into the view text views, which is named as view 6, view 7, view 8, view 9 and view 10. And the database handler, what does it do? It creates a cursor object. The cursor object is retrieved here, and then each of the details is extracted one by one, and these details and in these details are set texted, and the name, the department, the ID, the password, all are shown one by one. So that's what it happens. And finally, for the employee button, that is the next button which shows the final details of the employee, we see whether the ID and password we have given first in the initial admin, while clicking that admin thing, if the ID and password matches, so we are able to log in. That is, it gives a boolean output. If it is true, then it shows that login is successful. That is, if the ID and password matches, it shows it's successful. Else it shows that the login is failed. That is, the password and ID does not matches, or the fields are mandatory. So that's how it works. So for the output part, it's like this is the front page, which takes out the ID and the password. So first we type the ID as admin and the password as also admin. This is the in this we have typed ID as admin and password as also admin. So if we click the admin login, so when we click the admin login, there are certain fields that we need to fill. That is the name, ID, department, designation and password. So we fill one by one all those things. We fill the name as CG, ID as 112, department as CS, designation as GM, and password as also 12. So we have filled in all the details, that is CG, 12, CS, GM, and we just click the create button. So when we create it, it shows that it's successfully created. So so we go on to the back, and then further what we do is like we type the same ID and password. That is from my employee login. I have given as 12 as my ID and 12 as my password too. So what I do is like I type those 12 as ID, 12 as password, and then click on to the employee login. So here you can see that name is Siji, ID is 12, designation is CS, department is GM, and password is 12. So that's all. Thank you.